This is our spatula, or whatever you call it, for our wok. I'm sure there's a more appropriate name for it. And the issue we have is the wooden handle here doesn't stay in the shaft. Several years ago I tried to epoxy this in place. In fact, you can see a coating of epoxy on it, and it didn't hold. As I look at it, the epoxy stuck to the wood well enough. The inside, you probably can't see it. There's a little bit of a rust on it. Perhaps I could try to clean this out and I could scrape this epoxy off. Or another idea is to just put a little screw in this end. I'm sure the screw would hold it, but drilling stainless steel can be difficult, and this is round on top of it. When I could try to turn a new piece, but matching the two tapers I think is a little beyond the challenge that I want to start. Yeah, now I'm starting to get some wood shavings. I spent some time fitting this. There's a little bit of a divot in the back of the handle, and I find that when that is on the back of the spatula, it seems to fit best. And if I push that on, that's good and snug, and if I whack it with a mallet, it's definitely snug. And obviously the epoxy will fill any other minor gaps in there, but that's pretty snug as it is. And this is just a damp paper towel. It removed some of the schmutz from inside the handle here. I don't really remember. I can only assume I used 5-minute epoxy the first time I tried to glue this, so I have a longer setting. This is 12-hour epoxy, but it's supposed to be stronger, so I'll hedge my bets. Not going to bother to tint the epoxy. Not going to need a lot because I think it's a pretty snug fit. I'm going to put a little bit on the end grain just to seal it for good measure. And we'll let that set. Heating will speed up the chemical reaction and get the epoxy to cure a little faster. This is a masonry bit. Alright, we're through. In the past I've had a difficult time drilling stainless steel, and I'm not sure why, but best I can tell some of the stainless steel alloys are very hard, and your average drill bits for woodworking, even the titanium nitride, even if they're brand new, aren't really tough enough to make it through stainless steel. However, I'm really pleased to report that these masonry bits that I used did go through without much fanfare. The first bit I used, I thought it would gracefully punch a little hole through the stainless and leave a little bit of a divot, but I think what was happening was it distorted the metal and created a bit of a cup, and then it punched through all at once, leaving a pretty clean hole, but not quite what I was looking for. I looked through my collection. I actually have some number 5 stainless steel screws that are 3/4 of an inch long. And I took a larger masonry bit and flared the collar a little bit so that the flathead screw would recess a bit. I have epoxied that screw in place, 5-minute epoxy, and now I'm just going to treat the handle with a little boiled linseed oil. It seems to me a lot of Asian cuisine things have these lighter basswood or beechwood. I'm not sure what the wood is, so I decided to keep this handle a little lighter. The boiled linseed oil will provide a little bit of protection, at least for a while. And it's non-toxic and all that good stuff. Not that I'd recommend eating it, but I think it'd be a good finish. And there you have it. It's epoxied in, it's screwed in, got a new finish on it. And hopefully, aside from touching up the finish on the wood, I hope I never have to deal with this guy again. So I tried to look up the name of this thing, and I got a few different spellings. One of them was W-A-N, and another one was C-H-A-U-N. And I'm not going to try to pronounce those. But I do have a friend that speaks a couple Chinese languages. And when I spoke to her, she described this as being called a tan. And the best way I would describe the spelling might be something like a T-S-A-H-N. She described it that in Cantonese you would pronounce the front end of the word a little more, and in Mandarin it's a little more on the back. So I don't want to butcher it, but what I took away from it was in Cantonese it might be more like a tan, and in Mandarin more like a tan. Hopefully I haven't offended anybody. But that's my best rendition of what this thing is called. Well, that's all I got for this one. Short and simple, and if you have a similar repair to do, maybe this video will give you a little insights on how not to do it, along with how to do it. And as always, I appreciate you stopping by. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them. Like, subscribe if you do me the favor. And as always, keep your eyes out for the next one.